Model and musician Aariana Rose Phillips, who celebrated her first gala. Phillips, who has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, is recognized as the first Black transgender and physically disabled model to sign with a major agency.
Stunning in all black.
So Phillips was one of the human...
Why are you laughing at someone for being disabled? I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing at the newscasters.
He said stunning in all black. You're trying so hard to say
That's
anything
what I'm laughing at.
but what everyone else is thinking.
The fashion industry is unlikely to book or pay Black trans feminine and or physically disabled models.
I love representation. At the end of the day, there is going to be a majority in a country.
Mm-hmm. All right, ready?
Yeah. I'm always ready. Ew.
What?
My friend's sending pictures of a boy in the group chat.
And he's ugly?
No, he's cute, but like I don't want to see another boy.
Oh my God, you need to chill. Hey guys, welcome back to Normal Gays, where we take out insanity. I'm Brad Polumbo here with Clarkson Lawson.
I'm not here. I'm mentally somewhere else.
Okay, guess I'm solo hosting this episode. Wait, but we're gonna play a game, and you're not gonna. How are you gonna play the game if you're not here?
Miss you, baby.
Ew, calm down.
All right, back to work. What are we doing?
We're gonna play a game called "If You Laugh, You're a Bigot."
Okay.
So I'm gonna play a clip.
I'm feeling pretty monotone today, so I think I'm gonna win this.
And how about this? The first one of us to audibly laugh at this clip is a bigot.
Okay, Brad's gonna lose.
I'm gonna lose.
I don't really laugh at anything unless it's myself.
You laugh at yourself all the time. You do your laugh where you go,
yeah, because I'm funny. And
is the funny in the room.
And also, like, if you don't laugh at yourself, if you don't back yourself, nobody else will.
But you're supposed to also laugh at other people.
I don't find other people funny. Just me.
Okay. All right. You want to watch the clip?
Yeah, let's watch it.
Let's talk about model and musician Aariana Rose Phillips, who celebrated her first gala. Phillips, who has quadriplegic cerebral palsy, is recognized as the first Black transgender and physically disabled model to sign with a major agency. She said, "Girls, I've made it."
Yeah.
Very cool. Very
Quite
cool.
a moment.
Stunning in all black.
So Phillips was one of the human models for mannequins at this year's popular Met Gala Costume Institute exhibit. The exhibit is called Costume Art, includes a handful of mannequins with larger bodies, bodies in wheelchairs, pregnant bodies, trans bodies, and bodies with missing limbs. Costume Institute curator Andrew Bolton says the goal of this year's exhibit is to reclaim the body. Very cool.
So,
Give me a second.
stunning in all
Brad,
black.
shut up.
What?
I said, give me a second.
Okay.
I'm composing. I think I was just talking to
Yourself.
Clark over here. I think that she looks amazing and stunning.
So I'm just a terrible person for laughing at any of that.
Mhm.
Okay, but so I had to explain this on Twitter because I tweeted this clip and I said, if you don't laugh at this, we can't be friends. And what people were like, somebody commented back and was like, why are you laughing at someone for being disabled? And I'm like, you don't understand. I'm not laughing at her in this clip. I'm laughing at the newscasters.
He said stunning in all black. It's just so funny because it's like you're trying so hard to say
That's
anything
what I'm laughing at.
but what everyone else is thinking.
The newscasters literally looked at her and said stunning in all black.
Stunning in all black.
With a straight face.
You know what? Good for them.
I'm
Good for them.
impressed.
Yeah.
As somebody who has laughed at inopportune times during interviews on television, I can't really control it.
No. I would have actually no, I probably would have just reacted the same way that I just did.
I would have laughed out loud and they would have been like, why? What are you laughing at? I'm like, bro, come on.
Is she an artist?
I think she's a model. And I should be clear, I really have no issue with this woman. She said, like, at all. I think it's kind of ridiculous.
I'm already in trouble with the disabled community, so I'm going to keep my mouth shut. All right?
Oh, please. Yeah, you did.
I did. I've said enough.
Sit in the corner.
I am. I'm going to sit right here.
I'll just carry this one myself.
Yeah.
I don't have any issue with her, but I do find it...
I hope not. It's so funny because we have to say that.
Like, people should
but you're
understand
allowed to laugh
that.
at it.
But I'm allowed to laugh at the absurdity of the spectacle of these people acting as if there's nothing ridiculous about putting a person in a wheelchair with cerebral palsy who happens to check every woke box on the, like, it's not even just we're going to have a model with cerebral palsy. It's not even just we're going to have, the first Black trans model. It's literally
Wait,
everything.
hold on. It was so much that I didn't even really comprehend. So she
Black,
is
trans, disabled with cerebral palsy, and I don't know what else.
Damn, triple homicide. I don't really know what Candace Owens has been up to recently. I feel like I've actually muted her, like all of, like I've muted Candace Owens.
I can't look away.
I have no idea what she's doing.
Well, my favorite, with our channel partners at Kalshi, my favorite market they've got going on right now is just a market on every time she does an episode. What words will Candace say during her live stream? And you really never know what the heck is going to be on that list. But so, for example, for the latest one from May 11th, people thought there was a 56% chance she would say AI or artificial intelligence, a 52% chance she would say Zionist, and a 48% chance she would say Iran. Sad that Brigitte and Penis didn't make the cut, but who knows? Maybe
she's uncircumcised.
This is one of those recurring markets. So it might make it another time. But anyway, Kalshi is where the future's happening. So it is the first CFTC regulated exchange dedicated to trading on the outcome of future events. If you want to get in on all of that, you can use the link in our description or the pinned comment, or just use promo code BRADP to get $20 when you trade $20 now. Now back to the show. You get what I'm saying? How them just acting like it's not absurd. And of course, it's part of like a stunt.
Yeah,
It's
it
like,
is.
They literally say it's like, oh, they're having exhibits to showcase all bodies.
Yeah, they're trying. It's like art, but the art is.
But
being
also,
pulled
can we talk
from
about this? How like not everyone should be a model.
Correct. Unless you're modeling like
wheelchairs.
Specific.
Sorry, is that bad? Is that mean? If you're a fan and you're in a wheelchair, you have cerebral palsy, it's not a shade to you. It's the absurdity of the situation.
Oh, I don't want to be woke because this is funny.
I know.
But I think about like gay characters in shows and like that type of representation and how I feel when I see it. Like it's nice to have some.
But there's a difference between that and like modeling, which is a very specific thing.
Sure.
And
I do think that models
where
should be the top tier looks wise.
And
in every way, shape, or form.
Is not.
Yeah.
And whether that's their fault or not is kind of irrelevant.
Correct. Yeah. Well, looks aren't. Yeah. Exactly. I get what you're saying.
Like
I agree.
There's no representation for just uggos in modeling.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'm trying to think.
Not everyone gets to be represented.
Maybe like if like at Spencer's, like their models that are modeling like the chains and like the furry outfits.
I've never been in there and I've never browsed that. Oh my God, not this again.
All right, let's watch the next one. I didn't laugh.
Oh, well,
Brad
there's
is
a
a
meme.
bigot.
It's Stephen Hawking, your favorite, and it says the original, but it has the Netflix remake and it has her. Admit it, that's funny. Laugh. You want to laugh.
I can't laugh.
If you laugh, you're a bigot. I know, and you're
no. I would love to be called a bigot. I love being unique.
With the disabled community in particular.
No, but sometimes I don't like laugh, but I find something funny. It's like when you watch a show and it's like, oh yeah, that was funny, but you don't laugh.
Okay, well, let me read you some quotes. She was interviewed.
All right,
I think this is
rapid
Vogue.
fire. Let's see if I can.
Aariana Rose Phillips on attending her historic first Met Gala. Quote, "Girls, I've made it." I think that this is her, right?
Wait.
What?
Never mind. I'm just trying to figure out if the appropriate pronoun is girls or not.
Well, what do you mean?
She's
a trans woman.
Okay. Got it.
I think that for a long time, it's been easy to see a disabled person in the public eye and label them an activist because we have no choice but to speak up for ourselves in the spaces that we inhabit because other people are not familiar with our bodies or how to accommodate us. We're given the title of activist because we are challenging a social system. Yes?
I agree.
Yeah. Well, I think that people don't realize there's no choice but to do that if you have a disability in a major public space because we have been so historically marginalized and pushed aside. Okay, so far I'm not like, it's a little cringe, the language, but I'm like,
I don't disagree, yeah.
I don't necessarily disagree. Here's the part where it gets cringe. Unfortunately, with the fascist shift in our global society, we are seeing people return to ableism and eugenics and harmful rhetoric toward disabled people.
No. No.
What is the evidence for this? The Sydney Sweeney jeans ad? Like,
actually, that's probably what they were thinking of.
That's dead ass. Probably
Yeah.
like the strongest evidence of eugenics. And a bitch rhyming. It's a pun about
But
jeans.
also, okay, the whole eugenics argument gets
Okay, please don't endorse eugenics on this podcast.
I'm not endorsing eugenics. I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying you should abort a kid because it has like a disability. But if there's ways to avoid that in the womb, wouldn't you want to? Like, if there was some like scientific, like I've seen something about like having some revelation about being able to gene edit when they're in the womb, and then somebody on Twitter is like, "This is eugenics, by the way," and it's like, do you want your baby to come out with like 3 legs, or do you want him to have 2? You know what I mean?
It's a tricky question though, because like obviously there's some suffering that could be ameliorated, but there also is in all seriousness, I think there is value and beauty in human biodiversity, and it's a very dangerous power to give any human being, or whether it's a doctor or a scientist or a government or even parents, to decide which traits, because the way this is mostly done is through selective abortions. But even with something like gene editing, I imagine you'd get much more uncomfortable with it if people started saying, what if you could detect a gay gene and they could edit it in the womb? What if you
there's a slippery slope to everything.
And that's a particularly slippery one.
But I think but that you can't inhibit that if it's also preventing someone to have Parkinson's or something like that. Like, that's debilitating. There's really no positive spin on that. You can make light out of a hard situation.
But where's the line between something that's debilitating?
Well, we have to draw it.
And it's a very tough one to draw.
Sure, but that doesn't mean that we should just throw out the pencil.
I don't disagree. I'm just saying it's a very complicated subject.
Right. Okay. Anyways, it's supposed to be funny, haha.
Yeah. So I want to play you a clip from her TED Talk.
When I first started working, I was an anomaly to the industry. Arguably, in many ways today, really I still am. I think it's time to say the quiet part out loud. The fashion industry is unlikely to book or pay Black trans feminine and or physically disabled models to do runway, editorial, and or campaign because of an absence of whiteness.
I'm sorry, bitch.
There's not really a strong argument for that, specifically nowadays. Considering the reaction to Sydney Sweeney's ad, I think that that point's kind of fallen.
Well, also, like,
moot.
the point that a couple years later they would be putting her at the Met Gala specifically as, it's like...
Right. Also, like, here's my issue with this whole thing. I love representation, but at the end of the day, there is going to be a majority in a country.
Mm-hmm.
And if you want to market to the majority, you're going to see more white people than you're going to see Black or trans people.
Well, but I feel like you're not even focusing on the point. The point that she's suggesting is that the reason physically disabled people aren't getting modeling opportunities is because they're not white.
Mm.
No, bitch.
No. I mean, I haven't seen any other Parkinson's person.
I think she may have cerebral palsy.
Oh.
Regardless.
I don't know what the difference is, to be honest. Doctor?
They're different.
Parkinson's, cerebral palsy, what's the difference?
He says they're very different.
I'm going to shut up now.
But you get what I'm saying. It's not the whiteness. It's that, like, would you be honest?
No.
Would you see a pair of jeans on a person in a wheelchair with cerebral palsy and be like, I got to get me some of those?
Well, you can't even really see them because most of the time their legs are kind of like...
Oh, you really had to demonstrate for the class.
Yeah. I did see a girl at Universal with no legs, and she was cutting the lines.
As she should.
Yeah, good
What
for
are you
her.
going to
I was
offend the
jealous.
disabled community again?
I'm going to shut up.
You've been so reserved in this episode because you got your spanking from them.
I did.
Ah! No! Oh my God, simp.
All right. Anyways, I'm being too good and I'm not being funny, and I want to issue an apology. Okay, I'm so sorry that I am turning a new leaf and becoming a lover boy and just want to find light in the world. Amen.
Literally what if next week you show up for the podcast, you're wearing all
I'm
black
gonna change
and
tomorrow.
it's all over and you're depressed and emo and
I'm gonna be a raging.
That'd be so different from all the other days.
I just can't, I can't fake it. I'm just gonna be me,
Okay, well, like I said, I don't.
Was this it?
Yeah, this is the story. The girl.
Oh, I thought we were gonna react to more funny things and see if we could laugh.
No, it was just her. It was just that story because I just saw. I found that to be like cartoonishly tokenistic.
Yeah, it
just
is.
kind of like the microcosm of liberal identity politics to their most absurd, where you're checking every single box. And then I really was struck by this because, like I said, I have like absolutely no ill will towards this woman or any of her different boxes she checks are all fine by me. I was more like struck by the absurdity of that CBS News clip. This is one of the most
it's a little
elite
insane
journalism institutions, and they're all pretending,
Yeah.
they're all lying and saying stunning in black and all the other gassing up like just as if that's not,
Nobody can just be honest.
and be like, you know what? Maybe it's nice that we intentionally carve out space for people with very rare disabilities.
Yeah.
Instead, they're acting like she's actually
Like it's based on merit.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's
And you
obviously
may
not.
have merit, but the decision is clearly influenced by other things besides
Exactly.
that.
And I found that to and just what else did they say in the clip? They're like, they talk about
I don't know.
the Met Gala or the museum or something having like a exhibit with larger bodies and more bodies, and one of them is like, how wonderful.
Okay, now larger bodies.
Here's where your tolerance
This is where my
disappears.
line gets drawn because that, even though it's hard to lose weight, is a choice.
Correct.
And if we don't need
It's
to be
almost
modeling.
offensive to like Miss Girl here and people with disabilities like that to view that as the same as
Correct.
just chunks.
Correct.
Like Latino.
Because if you are just higher, like, oh, we need more diverse. No, you don't. You don't. It's a choice. Now, disabled people, sure, build the ramp. Okay. But I don't think that larger people should be using that ramp. Ooh.
And they do be using it.
They do that? Yeah.
Yeah. Stairs
Anyways.
are tough. All right, guys, let us know what you think in the comments. Do become a channel member. We're going to watch some more of my strange addiction clips, I believe. And anything else for them?
No.
Oh, it's
We're
late.
kind of boring today.
You're not
we?
boring. You're fine.
Okay.
All right. Bye, guys. We'll be back with more real soon.